Okay, so I'm on a journey to see if I can understand Star Wars games without having seen the movies. So far, it's been going how you'd expect.
Anakin did what?
How does one plan the minds in this game? Right, so what exactly was this Jedi Civil War? But I think something clicked for me on this one.
Wait, I think I remember how these things are called. If he's here, this means the story has to take place after the original trilogy.
Other things haven't clicked so much.
Is this the first time I'm seeing a Sith that's not a human? What even is this Valley of the Jedi?
Yeah, you can take this video as a form of a Jedi test. If you finish it and manage to keep calm throughout all the choices and misunderstandings of basic Star Wars elements I make, you're fit to be a Jedi. Otherwise, grab yourself a red lightsaber. But let me not get ahead of myself. After finishing Knights of the Old Republic 2, I had a choice of what game I should play next, and one of the options I kept seeing everywhere was Jedi Academy. And I was quite ready to go for that one. I had my cursor on the play button ready to pull the click. However, I had a thought. Is this part of multiple games? After going through the Star Wars games on Steam, I realized there was one more called Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. So I was like, yeah, okay, so I guess this Jedi Academy has a sequel, but is there anything else before it? So I look it up and... who came up with the naming convention for these games? Right, so there are multiple games in this series, not just two. The first one was Star Wars Dark Forces, released in 1996. The second one was Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. So far so good. Then the next one was Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. And obviously the next and final one was Star Wars Jedi Knight 3 Jedi Academy. Wait, no, there's no number 3 in this one. It's Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Hold on then, does this mean the first one is Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 and then Jedi Knight Jedi Academy followed by Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast? Oh, apparently not. The next one after Dark Forces is Jedi Outcast, but then why go from Jedi Knight to Jedi Knight 2 back to Jedi Knight? It makes no sense. Anyway, it seems to me that Jedi Outcast is a good game to start with, so after I had to do what at this point feels like a tradition of applying mods for a higher aspect ratio, it was time to start. Straight away, my first question was, what is the timeline of this game? And unlike Knights of the Old Republic, this seems to be a lot more straightforward, as the classic moving text explains how the events happened after the Empire was defeated at the Battle of Endor. Did I know what Endor was? Absolutely not, but my guess is that it was the planet where the final battle in the movies happened. I did play the LEGO games and I'm sure it was mentioned then, but I don't remember. What I am fairly certain though is that I saw no mention of this Valley of the Jedi that the main character of this game has helped defend against the evil Jarek. What I'm not fairly certain is if this Jarek is someone canon to the movies. I like that name though, so I'll say yes, absolutely, he was in the movies. Anyway, after that battle, the main character Kyle Katarn severed his connection with the Force, so he was forced to resume his mercenary ways alongside with his partner Jan Ors. They are on a mission to get rid of the remaining Imperial forces. This took them where the story begins, a planet called Kejim where an Imperial outpost used to be. All this information got Kyle very excited to help. So we land on the planet and find ourselves having to shoot down some stormtroopers? As we make our way through this clearly not abandoned outpost and shoot down some stormtroopers, I notice how they don't simply just die when shot. They die in a very spectacular fashion. And I'm all for it. Like when you shoot them down when they are next to a ledge, you see them dropping from it while screaming, and I'm thinking to myself, surely this is a nod to the movies. I imagine this is either a common reoccurrence in the movies or it's something that has happened 1 or 2 times but fans loved it so much it became a meme. Now, what I like doing for games is leaving the default difficulty on as I want to play the game how it was intended. This one was no different, but I was barely 10 minutes in and I was already quite low on HP and even died a few times. Okay, this one didn't count, okay? I made sure it won't happen again as I wrote in my notes, note to self, things that explode damage you. Thank you, Tasmi, that's very helpful. But even as I died a few times, it didn't matter to me yet, as I was enjoying how this game had a very similar feeling to Half-Life in a way. Maybe a bit too much as I keep pressing R to reload after every fight. There is nothing to reload, stop pressing it. After a few deaths I realized that the game kind of shows its age, as it barely has any checkpoints, so if you die somewhere in the middle of the level, there's a chance the previous checkpoint was 20 minutes before. I learned very early on that I constantly have to save, which I did. Manually. Don't ask me why, okay? I checked around the controls a bit and didn't see any way to use the keyboard to quick save and quick load, so I quickly gave up on that. And probably 30 minutes later, my cat that was sitting next to the keyboard stretched out and pressed a button on the keyboard, and I just saw a notification for quick saving. What? How did she do that? I have zero clue what she pressed. Alas, as I was going through the first level, I started realizing that I was getting stuck as to where I had to go quite often already. This happened to me in Knights of the Old Republic, but in there it definitely did not happen as often. I don't believe the game has any maps, so the only way to figure out what you have to do is to check your datapad. More often than not, however, these are quite generic and assume you already know where to go. Input the green clearance code at the main array. Thank you game, now where in hell do I find this main array? However, for now though, I was young, I was foolish to think, man, I keep getting stuck constantly for 10 minutes at a time having to look where I need to go. Oh, pass me, 10 minutes is nothing. Anyway, I slowly make myself to the next level, and as I was picking up different items, I noticed something peculiar. There is this grenade looking thing that for some reason I can't seem to pick up, so in my notes I was wondering, what even are these things? Why can't I pick them up like the other items? Did the developers add ammo for a weapon I didn't discover yet? If I can't pick them up they're probably pointless, so I need to move on. And so move on I do, but the progress is quite slow. I have to keep reloading the game because I keep dying. And the reason why I keep dying is because I have to go through most of the level with little to no HP. Managing the health is quite difficult in this game. You can find healing kits here and there, but they are really rare and don't even heal you that much. Like, look at this. I have 6 health left and have to go through hordes of enemies. Absolutely no chance. I have to go around and find even a little bit of health for this. And once I did get it, I had to proceed very carefully. Losing even 10 HP was too much, as it meant next encounter I could not even get shot once. This game is a lot harder than I thought it would be, but I guess older games are like that. I refused to change the difficulty though, so I spent a lot of time retrying encounters to make sure I come out of them with as little HP lost as possible. Let me show you what happens when you don't manage your health well. I got to this point where there's at least 10 stormtroopers protected by this laser turret guy. And I have to take all of them down with 5 HP, and I could not find any healing items around. I refused to load an earlier save as that would just waste time, so I proceeded to waste 20 minutes constantly trying this encounter. I perfected the strategy as much as I could. I go in, I first throw as many grenades as I can to take down the stormtroopers, and if I have any grenades left, I can try to throw them on the turret guy. Sometimes it would work, other times not so much. Eventually I take everyone out and complete the level. Now, somewhere in this level we found out that this base was used to collect and test around with some sort of crystals. So now it was revealed that they are the same crystals used for lightsabers, and that they may have come from a remote mining planet called Artus Prime. Which means we know our next destination. And as soon as we arrived there, I was surprised to see an old friend. The robot from Knights of the Old Republic 2 is here! I did not know these droids are canon to the Star Wars universe, that is so cool. Not only that, but I also find a weapon that is very familiar. A bowcaster. This seems like the exact weapon the Wookiee companions used in Knights of the Old Republic. Now, one thing I loved about this game was the combat. Unlike the turn-based combat, this made encounters feel a lot more like in the movies I imagine. Being a shooter meant you can have moments where you get attacked by 20 stormtroopers and you see laser shots fired in every direction. Absolute chaos as you have to run around while shooting if you want to have a chance to make it out alive. It really makes you feel like a mercenary. The developers had all the right ideas to make this a perfect shooter Star Wars game. So why did they not do it? Sometimes it made me feel like they instead did a puzzle game with some shooting sections in between. Seriously, to those of you that play this game, am I the only one that felt like there were way too many puzzles? The action parts felt so good, but instead of having that constantly, it kept being interrupted by having to do puzzles. Will someone in the comments please confirm I'm not the only one that kept getting stuck at these puzzles? I felt like I was going insane. Moving on, I progressed through the level, encountered some small critters which I've never seen before, felt smart for a second as I outrun them to the point they couldn't get to me, only to throw a grenade to try to take all of them out, but instead proceeding to throw one grenade at my feet. Great, the game was too easy anyway, why not make it harder on myself? And so I keep progressing through this mining planet and encounter something quite interesting. A subscribe button. I tried to shoot it down, but for some reason I couldn't. Maybe you can. No, but seriously, as I get in this room, there's quite a few suits on display and they almost look like the suit worn by Darth Vader. Am I crazy in thinking this? Are these the same type of suits or are they just some random black suits? Anyway, the idea on this planet is that now that I basically wrecked the place and saved some people, Kyle's companion, Jan, landed the ship and is now waiting for me to join her so we can leave. This is a good example of how lost I am on the maps of this game. I am role-playing Zorro attempting to play a Star Wars game. I honestly thought I had to return to the beginning of the level, so I go all the way back. And I saw the ship on a platform with no way to get in. Now, I did see a gate behind and I thought, okay, I need to get in there through a different way. But do I? There is a mount next to the ledge, so what if I can break the game? If the game offers me the opportunity to do something in the non-intended way, in the end, why shouldn't I take it? And so I spent 15 minutes jumping around, and at one point realized that if you press the jump button and crouch button one after another, you can gain a bit more altitude. So after fooling around a bit more with that, I actually managed to get on the platform and finish the level. Wait, why is the level not ending? What am I supposed to do here? How do I get in the ship? Wait, that's not what I meant. Okay, maybe I wasn't meant to go through here? Fine, game, you win this time. But I have gained the knowledge of abusing the jump button, so there is no way I'm not going to constantly spam it from now. With this useless knowledge in mind, I get to the end of the level only to find out Kyle's companion was caught and held as a prisoner by their mortal enemy, the the son, who proceeds to insult Kyle by calling him a banta herder. Hey, I know this. These are the large fluffy cows, aren't they? I don't take that as an insult, but I'll still have to get rid of you, Tess. Okay, maybe not. He just throws me away and leaves after he kills my companion. I do not like when villains do that. You fight the hero and leave them alive? That's not something a villain would do. Why give him the chance to come back to hunt you? I mean, they are saying they can't even be bothered to kill me because I'm not even worth the effort due to how weak I am without the Jedi powers, but still, why risk it? It doesn't make much sense. Also, at this point I was writing in my notes, wait, is this the first time I'm seeing a Sith that's not a human? Even more, I don't think I've seen this lizard alien race in Knights of the Old Republic. Do they even exist in the Star Wars movies, or are they not canon? They have to be canon, right? There's no way they would come up with a whole race just for one villain. While I was thinking all that, Kyle got so angry because of the death of Jan that he drank a few monster drinks, punched a wall and then went to the Valley of Jedi and got abducted by aliens. I don't actually know what this is supposed to be. It seems to be a place that can force powers into you. Well, that's quite convenient, Kyle, but what's a Jedi without his lightsaber? No, seriously, what is a Jedi without a lightsaber called? Is there a term for it? Do they exist? From what it seems to me, they form a bond with their lightsaber, and it doesn't look like they like to use any other lightsabers, so if they lose their first one, do they just become lightsaberless? What am I even saying right now? Anyway, the next planet is Yavin, as it seems that when Kyle lost a connection with the Force, he asked for his lightsaber to be kept here. Why here? Well, it looks like this is the planet where young Padawans come after Baby Yoda flies to their house to deliver a letter to them and ask them to join the Jedi Academy. Yodwards. Wait, no, that sounds wrong. And the best thing about it is that he asked what seems to be the headmaster of the Academy, Luke Skywalker. And I got so excited seeing Luke here. I can only imagine how hyped Star Wars fans were. Especially at the time of the release of the game. I think it's not far-fetched to believe this was the first time Luke appeared after the events of the original trilogy in the Star Wars timeline. And based on what I know about the game now, I see no reason why this game could not be canon. Is it canon though? I kind of want Kyle Katarn to be canon. I think he's an interesting character. But that's not what I was thinking as I was going through the trial to retrieve my lightsaber. What I was actually thinking was... Where do I go from here? What am I supposed to do? Why am I so lost in this game? It's weird. The puzzles themselves, I wouldn't call them too complex. I'm used to completing puzzles from other games, but for some reason in this one I didn't even understand what I'm being asked to do. Let me give you an example. So you have this room that fills with water and has a gate at the end. And sometimes that gate opens, but for most of the time it stays shut. And I could not find a rhyme or reason as to why it closes. Is it when I step on the wooden flooring? Nope. Is it when I look at it? Nope. Is it when I get too close to it? Nope. I had zero clue how I passed this one, but I did. And so I completed the challenges, acquired the lightsaber and got to test it around. And guys, I absolutely love it. The game puts you in third-person mode and you get to slash around with the lightsaber. However, in this game, all the weapons have a primary fire and a secondary fire. For example, the rifle's primary fire is just a normal shot, but the secondary one just makes it fully automatic. And for the lightsaber, the secondary one, you get to throw your lightsaber at the enemies to use it as a ranged weapon and then have it returned to you. I love this, but I don't remember if I've ever seen this done in anything else so far. Is this unique to the game? Anyway, one last thing I need to discuss this section is that due to Kyle becoming a Jedi again, we got to learn how to use 3 different Jedi Force powers. Force Pull, Force Push, and Force Speed. And I can show you their usage as we head to the next level, Nar ShaDIE. Now this, I know for a fact it was in Knights of the Old Republic, so it's a planet I have become familiar with. The reason why we're here is that the Master of Everything, which includes hacking apparently, Luke, Skynet Walker, found out where the Sun ship is located. So we head there to a bar and ask the bartender if they know anything whilst trying to avoid conflict. As I was watching the cutscene though, I pressed a button by accident which made the meme of skipping cutscenes become reality. What happened here? What did Kyle tell the poor bartender? Why is everyone attacking me? No matter, let me show you the lightsaber combat in this game. They set this up perfectly for you to try out your new toys, as there are 2 types of enemies mainly. The laser rifle ones and the grenade throwing ones. With the laser rifle ones, so long as you have your lightsaber in your hand and not attacking, it can deflect the shots like in the movies I presume. And whilst I was attacking some enemies, I discovered something. You could take everyone down just by attacking them, but you don't even need to attack them to kill them. Theoretically. The lightsaber seems to deal damage to anything it touches, so if you get close enough to the enemies and start tickling them with it, they eventually die from laughter. Is it dealing a lot of damage? No. Is it even efficient? Absolutely not. This left me with 48 HP from the first fight and no armor. But come on now, how can I not tickle the enemies with the lightsaber? Also, fighting in here made me realize that my favorite piece of music from Star Wars so far has to be the Jazz Cantina song. Once I hear it, it's stuck in my head for a few days. So here you go, I'm gonna get it stuck in your head as well now. After this fight though, I was a bit lost as to where I needed to go. I did find this tube again, and I thought this is something I may need to be able to exit the room. But again, I couldn't pick it up. Even with using Force Pull, it would just pass through me. What is this pointless thing? Is it bugged? It doesn't just pass it through me, it passes through the bartender too. What weird properties does this have? What state is it in? Alas, aliens started shooting at us again, so I needed a hostage, and considering I couldn't kill the bartender, I thought it's worth trying to use him as a hostage. He normally would not move, but if you use Force Pull, he slowly moves towards you. I accidentally even made him pick up a weapon. Ah shoot, sorry, that one's on me. Ah, you look like you're okay anyway. Doing this made me realize that the Force powers are not too powerful. The amount I can push or pull enemies, if it even works, is basically insignificant, so I ended up not using them too much in this level. I wouldn't have been able to use them too much anyway, because I had other pressing matters. And it all started with this door here. So, firstly, I got this sniper rifle which dealt a lot of damage if you charge it. For that, you need to right click and zoom in your target and then hold left click. It does deal a lot of damage, but I found it so pointless. Having to do all that means you'll probably get shot at least 2 times before you can make a shot yourself. It would have been fine if you could at least move while you do that to avoid shots, but you can't. The moment you move, it cancels everything. To make matters worse, this level was filled with snipers. I had no idea where I was getting shot from, and so I kept dying. And again. And again. Until I reached a safe spot. The only issue...
I reached it with 1 HP.
What am I gonna do with 1 HP? Oh my god. I'll show you my notes for the level so far. What the hell is up with this level? How am I supposed to pass? Yeah... And this was just the beginning of my struggles with this level. Look, even the grenade guy throws his grenades with a sniper accuracy, literally throwing them between my legs. And so after getting back to that safe spot I died before and going to the elevator, I realized there's so many enemies above that I have no chance of dealing with all of them. So I just die after killing a guy with a grenade in his hand. The accuracy of these guys blew my mind. And my legs. And my arms. But it gave me an idea. Two can play that game. You guys left yourselves wide open with so many windows there, so let me give you a gift. Wait, now they're shooting at me from behind. Where? Round... I lost count. Let's just say round 12. Sorry, no, 13. 14. 15? Guys, please have mercy. And I want to show you this here. Look at the issues using the sniper. The moment you show yourself for 1 pixel, the snipers instantly shoot at you. How am I meant to react to that? These guys are playing with wallhack and aimbot while I'm here playing like I have my monitor turned off. Whatever. I eliminate the ones shooting from the outside and I can finally start throwing grenades through the windows, and look at this. They are starting to die. You can see their weapons dropping. Let's throw one more grenade in the middle just for good measure.
Oh, no!
After a few more tries, my idea finally worked and I got to progress a bit. Just a bit. The moment I had to step out, I was instantly shot because fighting the leftover guys inside usually just left me with low HP. So I was thinking to myself, where is Kreia so she could use force heal on me? God damn it, let me exist for 1 second. What twisted mind created this level? Seriously, I need someone to tell me I'm not the only one that struggled with this level. I can't be the only one. Or am I? But anyway, I got to the next part of the level, which took a bit of effort and restarts. It would have not taken that long if I actually had some help. But this level did not seem to have too many healing kits. So because of that, just like before, each fight I went into, I had to go in methodically. But even so, I kept being left with low HP, like look at this one. By the end of this fight, I was left with 3 HP and barely any armor. Why is this game so punishing? I don't get it. I still refuse to change the difficulty, even if it was quite frustrating at this point. I would be the one beating the game, not the other way around. Moving on though, after progressing through the level some more, I got to a prison facility where I encountered a familiar face, I think. Some of you might know him by Lando, but I know him by, hey, it's the guy from LEGO Star Wars Episode 5 Part 6. And so after helping him escape from the prison, he tells us we can board on his ship and he can take us to his home planet, Bespin. Before that though, we need to clear the enemies around his ship and fuel it. Remember earlier when I said that getting stuck for 10 minutes was nothing? This was the level I was referring to. So I'm shooting my way around and see this enemy coming from the doors on the right. Game logic tells me that's where I have to go now, so I do. Ah, more enemies here. That's a good sign. Let's progress. And the only way to progress is in this insanely dark room. I'll try to increase the brightness in editing to see if it does anything, but my view was just absolute darkness. The only way I could see how to find out the layout of the room was to hit the walls with the lightsaber and go around. It made me feel like when I was a kid and was playing Pokemon. In Pokemon games, there are some caves that are usually absolute pitch black. The idea behind it is that you can light up the cave by using one of your Pokemon's moves called Flash. However, kid me did not realize that's a thing. And so I had to figure out the layout of the cave with limited visibility. And whilst the newer Pokemon games had a limited view, the older ones were absolutely pitch black, so I spent probably hours figuring out where to go based on the sound being made when you bump into a wall and cannot go any further. Wait, this is a Star Wars video. Yeah, so after going through this for a long time, I kind of gave up on this room because I was like, I'm wasting my time here, it's probably not where I need to go. 40 minutes. For 40 minutes I walked around the level not being able to figure out where I need to go. At some point, I even tried to use force speed to jump across a platform that was clearly not intended to be jumped across, so of course that didn't work. But somewhere around 40 minutes, I randomly threw my lightsaber around and somehow it got stuck. And if it didn't, I don't know how I would have been able to discover this, but as I got close to it to get it back, I saw an enemy. Hold on, what are you even doing here? And why can't I get my lightsaber back? How do I even get there? Give me my lightsaber back, I don't wanna be a lightsaber-less Jedi. Yeah, so as I was trying to get it back, I somehow crawled to it, got it back, continued to crawl through the darkness and progress through this pitch black room, and somehow I got to the exit. I have absolutely zero clue how I did this. I was so confused. Look at my notes if you don't believe me. This game confuses me greatly. See, I told you. And that wasn't the only thing that confused me. As I was clearing the area around the ship, I somehow activated bullet time as everything was moving much slower. Of course, that wasn't the case, as I realized it wasn't them that was moving much slower, it was me moving much faster. So the force speed is actually not useless? It makes dodging the bullets so much easier. Oh, this will be so useful. And you may think to yourself, is this guy stupid? Did he only realize he can use force speed for that so many hours into the game? Well, I take great offense into that, okay? I am not stupid because of that. Only. It goes much deeper than that, give me some credit. Why? Well, so I finished the level and escaped to the lower parts of Bespin for an ambush. Why an ambush? Well, I think it's because the city got invaded by the Imperial forces. Anyway, at this point I started to get a little suspicious because I started a new level with 9 HP, so let me show you the live reaction. And hear me out, okay? The last time I did this, everything was empty and so I gave up on this menu. But now I pressed M after a long time and, well, look. I was checking the objectives I had to do and look a bit further down and see that I have way more force powers and... I see an inventory? Wait, I have an inventory? Are these the items I could not pick up earlier? Is it because I had an inventory full of them already? I have been playing the game so wrong the whole time. Wait, there's more. That's a light amplification thing. I could have used it to make it bright. Hold on guys, cause there's even more. This made me go to the controls again and have a deeper look at the menu. And so I find force power bindings. Grip. Heal. I have force heal. No. I refuse to believe I had this before. This was only given to me now. Let me reload the last level. Healing items work, so I don't have the healing force powers yet, meaning they were only given to me now in this level. But let's check the pitch black area. I felt like I was playing a new game. From this point onwards, the game became so much more manageable as I could heal at any point outside of the combat. It might have been a bit too late, but this is where the gameplay clicked for me. Having all these Jedi abilities made the game so fun. All I had to do was actually read. Now I could go with a lightsaber, use the force speed and slash down enemies. I even had the mind trick. Now, there was this part of the level that I feel like I was doing something wrong, but with the force healing I had now, I was able to brute force it. I'll still show you though. So the idea was that I had to go all the way up in this room, and the only way to get across to the elevators was to walk on these pipes. However, these pipes seemed to be too hot as standing on them hurts. And I thought, okay, I should only walk on them when they dim down, but that still damaged me. For anyone who has played the game, what exactly do you have to do here to avoid taking damage? I refuse to believe taking damage here is inevitable. Eventually, I do get out of that zone and get to the end of the level without any issues. And then have a lot of issues. So instead of encountering the sun, we encountered his companion who revealed that the sun followed us all the way to the valley of... No, the other one, the Valley of the Jedi, and started creating fake Jedis by having his followers go through the same ray of light that we went through. Now that's a plot twist. The Sun did not leave Kyle alive just because of plot armor for main character. Kyle and Jan were the only ones who knew the location of the valley, and he knew that if he left Kyle alive, he tried to regain his Jedi powers for revenge. Even in the initial interaction, he pushes Kyle to do that, as he says he might have been able to do something if only he had Jedi powers. I love that. What I don't love is this boss fight. She reflects all the bullets, which obviously she can because she has the lightsaber. But she also reflects the energy blasts and pushes away the grenades before I can explode them. This leaves me with the only option being fighting her with a sword and then running away and hiding to heal. How did you even get behind me? Okay, let's try again. Maybe she can't reflect my sniper. She just stole my sniper rifle. I'll just run away and place mines to lure her. She pushed them away too. Okay, no, I have an idea. This time I run a... Okay, no, I haven't... Okay, no, Okay. Seriously, what am I supposed to do? At one point I managed to get her to lose her lightsaber, so I was like, aha, now's my chance to shoot her while she's stuck. But even then, somehow she's still able to dodge all my shots and still kills me. You know how I managed to do it? I gave up on every tactic and just had a normal lightsaber fight in one of the tunnels and somehow worked? And as Kyle leaves this seat hanging, I need to update you on the situation. Guys, Janet's not dead. And not even this is because of plot armor. They pretended to kill her to get Kyle upset, but in the case he would not get upset, they had to keep her alive because she's the only other person who knew of the value of the Jedis. That's some really good writing there, I'll have to give them that. Anyway, she also revealed where Descent's main ship, Doomgiver, is docked, so we can head there to rescue Jan and destroy his ship. Wait, didn't we already try to get to his ship? So we get there and after fighting through some enemies, we encounter Luke again. Not only that, we actually get to take down enemies together. Ignore the fact that I just tried to kill him. That was a bit of Sith tendencies I still had from Knights of the Old Republic 2 just coming out. I think it must have felt quite amazing to be able to fight alongside Luke. It's one thing to play as Luke in some games, but it somehow feels different to fight alongside him. I don't really know why. And I think it was somewhere at this point that I realized that every level, you not only get new force powers, but you also get your current ones upgraded. They have different rankings, and so the force jump, for example, the higher the rank is, the higher you jump. Or the force speed increases the speed and also makes the bullet time slower. By the end of the game, with all of them fully upgraded, it really made me feel like a powerful Jedi. I just wish I would have been able to enjoy the upgraded powers for longer. After all, even with the powers upgraded, some encounters still felt challenging. For most of this level though, there's not much to show. It was quite a standard level. There was something interesting that Kyle said. So as part of the story, the villains try to use a material that is resistant to the lightsaber. And so at one point, we get into a room that displayed a few of these new looking cool armors. But Kyle proceeds to say...
Black armor, not again.
So I was like, wait, is he referring to Vader? Did he encounter Vader at some point in his life? Or is he referring to the armor I just showed you earlier in the video? It's clearly intended to be a nod to something, so I'm inclined to believe Kyle might have encountered Vader at one point. And if you're thinking, well, that's pointless, why would they just put them on display? Well, maybe it wasn't a display, but just a cabinet, as the moment we step forward into the next room, two Siths dressed up with that armor appear, and after we defeat them, Kyle confirms they are resistant to his lightsaber.
That armor seems to resist my lightsaber. I think I can guess how they're using the cortosis.
One thing I've noticed about this game is that the enemies are not here just for you to shoot them down. Their life doesn't revolve around you. Sometimes they just talk to each other about seemingly random stuff in the background and their discussions seem quite realistic. In a lot of ways, this game was way ahead of its time. So I had to take them down. They knew too much. And then headed to the end of the level where Kyle infiltrated the Sun's ship, which just left somewhere. So it's up to us to rescue Jan and destroy the ship. To make things easier for us, the force power upgraded yet again, so the hordes of enemies stand no chance. That's not to say there's nothing that can stop me. There is. There definitely is. My worst enemy was back. The level design. I got stuck in a room not knowing where to go for 30 minutes, guys. 30 minutes. And you know where I had to go? I had to go in the vents. But how could I know it was there? I've been told to not look up. At least this experience taught me to always look for vents. With that knowledge in mind, I continue through the level and go to rescue Jan. Kyle might have gotten a bit too excited about it, but it's understandable.
Happy to see you too.
Jan explains how the son was quite obsessed to learn about the Jedi Academy, and considering he's probably not on the ship, Kyle believes he went ahead to disable the shields, which means we have to do something about this massive spaceship and have to do it fast. It won't be a huge problem with the help of this new power I've learned. It's almost like golden experience requiem, but not really. Let's call it the Counter-Strike experience requiem. It's so powerful, it sent me straight to the end of the level. Amazing! In here, I'm meant to fight this guy that is covering himself with a force-resistant battlesuit. I'd like to tell you what the strategy to beat him is, but I have no idea. I gave up trying to figure it out after dying a few times. Instead, I took a deep look inside my soul to find the answers from my Jedi ancestors.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
That's it! Let me just... Ah, there we go. Give it up, Galak. I have the high ground. You're not giving up? Well, let me give up some of my green... Wait, you didn't see that. Let me give up some of my grenades. Also, I'm not sure if I've seen this type of suit before. It almost looks like a Mandalorian suit, but it doesn't have the classic T-shaped mask. Anyway, I defeated Galak and blew up the shields on the ship, which meant the rogue squadron outside was able to start dealing some proper damage to this. Perfect. Let it be destroyed. Wait, no, I'm still on it. This surprised me. The gravitational field on the spaceship got destroyed, and so instead of having to walk back, I had to swim back. I did not expect the developers to throw a new mechanic so late into the game. After a few deaths, Kyle and Jam get into an escape pod and land on Yavin, the location of the Jedi Academy. And as soon as I land there, I realize why it's used as a training ground for Jedis, because the environment here is harsh. Even the water shoots you. Wait, no, they're just swamp troopers? What do I have to say for this level? Well, to begin with, I was starting to go insane about the level design. Initially I thought to myself, nice, an open level, meaning it won't be easy to get lost. And then 5 minutes later I defeated all the enemies around and then could not find anywhere to proceed. This type of level design reminded me of the level design of Castlevania 2. So that game had a stage that if you played it when you were a kid, you probably remember going around everywhere exploring every little corner but could not find where to proceed. And that's because it's not enough to explore every little corner, silly. You had to do something that up until that point and after that you did not have to do again. Which is to go in a random corner of the map, facing a seemingly random wall, crouching and using a seemingly random item which made a random tornado appear to take you to the next area. Seriously, who came up with that? It felt similar here too, because you had to go to a small corner in the area and if you crouch walk, you can see a tiny bit of space covered with water, so you had to crouch under the water to proceed. And whilst for the other areas I fully take the blame on not realizing where to go, this one will make a poll. Let's see. I need someone to make a comment saying, "You should have seen the crack of the wall, it was obvious, you Dumbo." And another one saying, "Yeah, the developers really wanted you to suffer in this part." I'll leave the voting up to you guys, let's see which one gets the most upvotes. If I'm being stupid here, well, I'll change my avatar picture to this horribly traced image I made. God, I hope I don't regret it. Moving on though, this was also the stage where I realized that maybe I'm starting to learn a bit about the Star Wars universe. As I was progressing through the level, I found this massive two-legged machine and instantly went, wait, I think I remember how these things are called. They are AT-AT walkers, aren't they? And I get to actually ride them. Big gun, Imperial scum. Again, it's the final stages of the game and the developers introduced yet another new mechanic. I think it was a great choice because you got to experience it once and it did not overstay its welcome. They could have easily introduced it at the start and have you do a few rounds of this, but they decided not to. I appreciate that. Now, we get to the Jedi Academy and find out that the son went into a secret underground entrance in the temple. I don't know if it's explained what exactly he's looking for there, but he had enough time to set traps for me. Funny guy this the son. I will have my revenge for this. No matter how many attempts it will take me to take you down, I will have my revenge this... Wait, you died? Nah, he must be preparing for a second stage boss fight. Wait, what? How is it possible that the final boss was the easiest boss of the game? He didn't even attempt to fight back, he was just swinging his lightsaber aimlessly like me, but I swung it aimlessly better. Fine. So Kyle returns to Luke and tells him he will keep the lightsaber as he found his inner Jedi yet again. But not before he goes on a holiday with Jan. Great. And you may notice we're at the end of the game, but the video is not really over. That is because I want to talk about one last thing. So when I was starting the game, I noticed you can start two different game instances. The single player and the multiplayer. And so I got curious to check out how the multiplayer was like. And I did not expect this, but it triggered a core memory for me. I played this game before. I played it when I was a kid. I did not play the single player campaign, but somehow I got my hands on the game and went to the multiplayer version. I remember this level and fighting against bots, but being really lost on what is happening. It will sound silly, but as a kid I didn't even think I realized or knew what Star Wars was. It was just a game that was probably passed to me through official CDs, and I just ended up booting it and had a blast. I had so much fun with this when I was a kid, so I went to explore it a bit. There were so many details I did not even realize back then. Like how there were so many maps of iconic locations. Bespin Streets, Death Star, Star Destroyers, so many of them. And you can select from such a wide range of characters that appeared in the game, but also some that are original to this multiplayer mode. You can choose your lightsaber color, you can configure which force powers you want with the rank of each force powers, almost like an RPG. This is an insanely well developed multiplayer that I imagine people loved playing back in the day. I can see this as being a really good game to play at an internet cafe. Whilst I was playing Counter-Strike and getting knifed from the back, people were having a blast force pushing enemies around. It's fantastic. All in all, this was a great Star Wars game. The force powers were adapted so well for a shooter or hack and slash game, and when you actually get to be a Jedi Master, they felt very satisfying. Amazing game. And based on what I can see, the actual game people wanted me to play was Jedi Academy, so I can only imagine things are going to improve a lot in that one. I look forward to doing some studying at the Academy. With that being said, I think that will be all for the day. If you did enjoy the video, I challenge you to use the Force to throw your lightsaber at the subscribe button. You may not be able to smash that button with it, but I think you can slice it. May the Force be with you. Bye.